Hello, welcome back to another episode of Lychee Legacy. My name is Mei.
And I'm Tia.
Today we have a special topic that we're going to jump into. We're going to do a little girl chat. We have little snacky snacks. We got all the little drinky drinks. And then we're going to talk about our wild dating experiences. Fun. Are you going to start?
Okay.
You can start.
So I guess I'm starting.
Take it away.
All right. So I've been doing more serious dating on the apps as of recent, partially for experiment, but the other part is also, looking for somebody. I've been kind of getting on the apps on and off over the past couple years, but they weren't anything too serious. But anyways, so I've had quite a number of crazy experiences. And of course, there are also a lot of good men out there. I don't want to just, shoot down all of y'all's hopes and dreams in finding a partner. But there are also some very questionable people out there. So there's one that I've been wanting to share on Threads for some time now, but kind of a long thing to type out. It would require like 1 to 2 hours for me to kind of type out the whole story, so I figured it's just easier for me to share here. So I pretty much matched with this guy, and right off the bat it was kind of funny because he immediately was like, out of the 300 something women that are interested in me, I was the most excited to match with you and get to know you. And okay, first off, I may be butchering some of this because it kind of happened like over a month ago, maybe even probably a month to a month and a half ago. And because he did block me on the app, I don't have the initial conversations anymore, but we did exchange numbers right off the bat because he seemed like a good guy with like a good head on his shoulders based off of his profile right away. So I was like, okay, fine, and it just right off the bat after he said that sentence, I was like, oof, that's kind of an asshole thing to say. And even if you were doing that, you shouldn't say that to somebody. I totally understand that, like, some women may be like super flattered by it, like, oh, like he picked me out of like over 300 girls, but like, to me it's kind of like, oh, you're kind of an asshole. Like, you're gonna ignore all these other women who are interested in you that could have been a potential match, and like, just because you want what you want, you're gonna just say that to the woman that you're into. I don't know. I mean, whatever. Some men think it's like attractive, some women think it's attractive, whatever it is. So like, I forgot what I asked. I think I asked like some really basic questions. So for me, I kind of need to have like a little bit of conversation for a little bit before like I meet up with somebody. And obviously I never got to meet up with him because it just kind of spiraled really really quickly, like downhill over I think like 2 to 3 days of a conversation. And the thing is, like, if somebody isn't asking me a question, I'm not gonna just have something to say. But that's why I start with questions. And he pretty much, we took the conversation off the app like immediately, but there was definitely a lot of projecting over there where he just kind of took it as like, I'm his dream girl and like I have so much potential. And okay, come on, like, ladies, do not fall for that. If a man says you have so much potential, it's like kind of like conditioning you, which, I mean, if you're that type of woman who want to be conditioned, sure, but like for somebody like me who's pretty independent, it's just like, nah.
Yeah, just in general, saying someone has potential is not the compliment you think it is. And there's actually so many things that women hear and they're swooning over, but then it's kind of like, wait a minute.
Nah.
That's not what you think it is.
Yeah, so anyways, I pretty much started out just asking, like, what is he looking for? What is he passionate about? And he gave me, like, a whole list, which, to be honest, it's kind of very common. Like, most men say the same thing. Actually, if you don't mind, I'm gonna actually pull up my
Pull it
phone
up.
because I do have the rest of the conversation that
Pull
was
it
through
up.
text. And I'm gonna share it with you guys because it was
That's the good juicy stuff we're getting into.
yeah. So I don't remember majority of what he said. It wasn't that much, honestly, that was said via the apps. So, and unfortunately, I'm kind of bummed out.
Okay, keep going.
um, I'm kind of bummed out about that.
Keep going.
All right, so
I'm just gonna sneak away and get a scissor real quick.
you come back with a knife on camera. Why don't you just let me open it?
Because I'm a strong, independent woman that
We're
don't
just
need
gonna
no
cut this
man.
out. I'm gonna just kind of have like that back and forth conversation. So, okay, he gave me his number. He was really insistent on getting off the apps, which again, another red flag. But like I said, part of it is also experimental. I really want to get the experiences for everybody so that I can point out the red flags, you know, talk about the green flags and anything in between when it comes to dating, because I'm just seeing so many red flags. So, okay, I text him and I was like, hi, it's Tia. He responds with, hey, how are you, love? Definitely interested to see where this can go. I'm like, I'm good, been running around all day. How's your day? You know, like just simple stuff. Looks like you owe me some answers to my questions. He's like, absolutely. I'm an open book and I'm willing to answer anything. It looks like, okay, because half an hour passed and he said, you busy? And I was doing something clearly because I didn't get to respond back until like 2.5 hours later. No, sorry, an hour and a half later. I was like, oh, the questions I asked on the app, and I just got back in from taking the pups out, about to hop into the shower. What's up? He's like, I'm sorry, ask me again here, love. LOL. And okay, another thing is like this, I know it's not a big deal, but for me, like, I care about these things. The little details do matter to me, and like the fact that you can't go back on the app just to look at the question and just respond to me says something. Like, you're not willing to put in the effort. And maybe I'm just being harsh, but like, I would do that, so I kind of expect that from a potential partner. But instead, like, he's just asking me to repeat myself, which
Yeah.
another thing is, I don't like to repeat myself. So that was already like I don't know.
It's
Right.
already documented. You asked it. It's documented.
Right, and that's the other thing. It wasn't like I asked him on the phone. There wasn't any like reference to it. You could literally just get back on the app, you know, just browse the conversation really quickly because we barely said anything on the app anyway. So it's like
got
right
it.
there.
It's on the app. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So this is like, I'm just reading our text messages because he did block me on the app, so I can't see the conversation anymore. Okay, so I asked, what do you look for in a partner? What's the type you usually date? Personality traits, physical traits, you know, like a lot of men care about physical traits, so I just wanted to get that clarity to see what he's looking for. And he's like, if anything didn't make sense, I apologize, I'm using voice text. In a partner, I look for only 5 simple things: loyalty, peace, unconditional love, good cooking, or food that is the way to my heart very fast, and last but not least, good sexual attention is a must.
Just 5 very simple things.
I have a lot to say about this, but let me finish this text. I usually try to date women who are willing to do anything and everything for me. I am the king of reciprocation, of course, so it would be in return also, but a woman who's willing to let me lead her in a positive direction. The personality traits: just be feminine and friendly, inspirational and driven by the physical. Sorry, I guess this was all connected. Friendly, inspirational, and driven. The physical traits may vary. So, okay, cool. He said, then an hour passed. Too much? I didn't respond. Sometimes it takes a while for me to process things. So when I don't know what to say, I don't respond
It's
until...
well deserved. Take all the time you need.
Yeah, so, okay. Before I continue going on, I just feel like once he said sexual attention is a must, I feel like, okay, first off, I would hope that you guys are sexually attracted to begin with. Like, it's not a 5 simple things you're looking for. That's like right off the bat. If you're not even sexually attracted to the person, why would you even match with them, right? Or so I thought. I mean, maybe I could be wrong. Some people just look past that and like personality matters, and that's great, you know. I understand some people just don't have a high sex drive, and so they don't look for that, which is fine. But in general, I feel like that's a even people without like a high sex drive do care about that stuff anyway, to some degree, because that's how, you know, physical intimacy happens. Like, you connect on a deeper level through sex. I know nowadays a lot of people just kind of sleep around, and like it's gone to the point where it's not so much intimacy, but like our physical bodies still recognize that as like physical intimacy.
Just having an urge met.
Yeah, so like that's what it is now for a lot of people who just sleep around without commitment. And no judgment there. Like, do whatever you need to do to like get your needs fulfilled. That's fine, right? But like in terms of what he's looking for, like I thought that was like a given, I guess. And then the second red flag is I usually try to date women who are willing to do anything and everything for me, which is like, how do I say this? Like, you're already looking at me like a disgusted face.
I'm looking at him with a disgusted face.
I know. I just feel like, you know, that gives off kind of like a controlling vibe already. Like, what if you're not a good partner? What if you're, like, we're just, like, yes, it makes sense. You want to give what you get. But when you word it in that way, it just seems like, oh, I'm the king. You have to like be my servant. You have to do everything I expect you to do and like what I'm telling you to do.
Yeah, then he's used those exact words.
Yeah,
like he said, I'm a king. He literally used those exact words. I'm a king.
Of reciprocation, though.
Okay.
So, well, but anyways, like another thing. I know there's a lot of dating advice out there about like men being okay, let me lead, and even women like believing that like I want a man who leads, right? Great, sounds great.
There's nothing wrong with a man that leads. It's just, where are you leading me to?
Yeah. So that's the other thing, and actually that's not what I'm looking for in a partner either. Like, I don't need a man to lead me, and I know that may seem like, okay, that goes against, you know, the typical like, oh, the man is a provider, the woman, come on now, like, that's okay.
There's nothing wrong with traditional gender roles.
Yeah.
As long as both parties agree with.
Right. But that's not what I'm looking for. At least not what he's saying is not what I'm looking for. Because for me, I want my partner to be an equal to me. And what I mean equal doesn't mean like 50-50. What I mean is like, we both have thoughts, we both have input. Are we making these decisions together, or are we, you know, it's in our field, we know best, and we're just going to conversate with each other about it? Like, to me, that's what equality is. It's like, you guys are on the same page, you guys discuss things before you guys make decisions. You know, it's not just like, okay, one person is the one who makes all of the decisions for both of us. I just feel like that just kind of, unless you're the type of person who truly knows and understands your partner to the point where like they don't even need to express themselves, which I haven't found a person who can, you know, read me to that point where I don't need to say anything and they just know exactly what I'm looking for and what I need and what I'm gonna say at all times. But you know, again, like, to each their own. There's different ways of how relationships work. So I'm just stating what I'm looking for. Okay, so I was like, good morning, and okay, this is like the next day, and I'm like, okay, I hear you. And he responds in the afternoon. He's like, how are you? With the heart. I'm like, good, you? He's like, I'm great, getting ready for work, love. So tell me what you think so far. And I'm like, oh, you work night shifts? And about what? He's like, 3 p.m. until 1 a.m. and about everything I took time to write. LOL, you don't seem as interested. First of all, he said he did voice to text.
Yeah.
He didn't write that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, and two, he didn't ask me what I thought before. Like, yeah, you didn't ask me for my thoughts the day before. So yeah, I have nothing to say. Like, I asked you a question, you expressed your thoughts, and I'm like, okay. Like,
yeah, I guess he was just expecting you to share your thoughts.
Well, until, like, I'm a projector in human design, which we'll talk about another time.
Get into that.
But for projectors, yeah, we're not going to speak if somebody didn't ask us.
But he doesn't know that. Like, he doesn't. She's a projector. Let me invite her into the conversation.
But it doesn't matter because for me, it's like in my energetic
Does it matter,
field.
guys? Comment below.
To me, it doesn't matter because, like, even if they know or they don't know, if I just say stuff, I always get that pushback. And I'm just, like, whatever it is about my energetic field is that when I say things that people haven't asked me for, even if it's just like basic stuff, I get pushback for it. So as I've gotten older, I've just learned, like, unless somebody's asking me, really, and even then, like, sometimes I forget, especially with my friends, I am guilty of that. But, like, as strangers, I don't speak unless somebody asks me a question or somebody's talking to me. And I asked him a question, he answered the question, that was it. There's no reason why, like, like, am I supposed to have thoughts unless you, like, tell me you want to hear my thoughts? Anyways, so I responded, what do you do? And, well, you told me your thoughts, so I just said to it. It wasn't an invitation for me to share my thoughts on it, I don't think. So I just said, oh, I had a oopsie. So I said okay to it, my bad. He goes, LOL, you okay? And I just felt like, what are you talking about? And he's like, are you dating to marry? I was like, yes, I am. Are you? He's like, absolutely. And you have so much potential. How do you feel about what I want in a relationship? Can you do those things? I'm so simple. And I was just like, oh.
Such a simple guy with a long list of simple demands.
I mean, the fact that he was just saying that, it was like, ugh. Okay, so I responded with, that depends on what you're planning on doing in terms of leading and your goals. And in terms of sexual attention, that also varies depending on the depth of connection. He said, I agree on both, so you tell me what you like and desire. And I was like, what are your plans for leading? Because lifestyle-wise, we might have different ideas, so, since I'm also ambitious. So he said, well, of course, right now I'm in a 1-bedroom small apartment. 2 years from now, I plan on getting a 3 to 4 bedroom house. I have a good job. I help my family when I'm able to, but when it comes to me and you, I'm able to do the best of my abilities to make your life easier. 100%, that's my job. As a man, to lead you in a positive direction, depending on what she would like to pursue. But I also don't take any shit. I'm a very dominant man. I'm not controlling, but I don't put up with foolishness. First off, anybody who says I'm not a dominant man is a dominant man. Anybody who says I'm not controlling is controlling. Okay, like, you don't.
That's generally it.
You don't announce what you are, because when you announce something, you generally are not.
Yeah, it's like the man that says, I'm such an honest person.
Well, yeah. So, okay, I was like, well, I guess this probably won't work then. Also, I was at dinner around this time, so I didn't get to respond back right away. Actually, when I messaged him, I was just heading to dinner, and he responded right away, but I didn't get back to him until I was done with dinner. So he asked, why do you think so? He's like, you don't have to explain. I understand. Good luck to you. And then he sent a third text. 32 with no children. You must be super picky to begin with. LOL. And most Asians don't even go outside of the race. I'm surprised we got this far. Take care. And that is just so racist. I mean, I get it. Yes, a lot of Asians don't date out of race. But at the same time, like, you never asked me whether I dated other races.
Yeah, he just assumed.
Yeah. And this is what I'm saying about being a projector. Is like, people just assume things about me without me saying anything. Which is why I just don't say anything at this point. Unless somebody asks me. Because this is what happens. Even when I don't say stuff, people just assume things about me. And even when I do say something, because I didn't get that invitation, they will still ignore what I'm saying. Because as you can tell right now, I just said, well, I guess this probably won't work then. He started out asking, why do you think so? But before I could answer, he already cut himself off and wrapped up this whole conversation. So again, it was an invitation that ended up being rescinded. And then I didn't even get a chance to answer because he already jumped to conclusions.
Well, we're answering it now.
Well, it was just the fact that, I mean, there were layers to it.
But you get to clarify yourself.
Yeah, my point is that, first off, what he's doing and what I'm doing has very different goals in life. Like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with what he's planning on doing, but where I want to go, there's no way in his goals and where he wants to go that it's going to be able to even account for my dreams, my goals. And I'm just more ambitious, and I know, like, you know, I'm claiming I'm ambitious. I mean, I have things I want to do, and I know that it is just an alignment to my soul, what I want to do here. So there's nothing wrong with what his goals are. I just have things that I want to do that it just seems like he wants to take the lead, and I probably just won't even have a say in my dreams and my goals. But I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know. But, I mean, if you're just going to say that I don't take shit, I'm a very dominant man. He did say that.
Very dominant.
I'm not dominant and controlling is literally almost the same thing.
I'm very dominant, but I'm not controlling at all.
Yeah, but I don't put up with foolishness. Okay, like, I don't know how much of him has dated outside of race. I know that within the race, this is a very common sentence to say. I don't put up with foolishness. That is a very, I'm not gonna say anything else about him, but I'm just saying I know it's very common. I've heard it plenty of times before.
Right. Like, what is foolishness? Can you define foolishness?
But yeah, so anyways, that's just one of my stories. But I mean, even like, because I didn't get to share with you guys like what was said on the app, there was already a lot of projections going on. He just saw me as this person who had like a lot of potential and he could see a future with us. And, you know, like, again, you don't even know anything about me, and all of a sudden you think like, I have so much potential, we have a future together, you know? It's one of those things that it seems a little delulu, but then at the same time, like, when we do get into groundedness, it's like he's just even more unaware of himself. Like, you can't go from I'm very dominant to I'm not controlling. You just can't. But yeah, that's my story, guys.
Thank you for sharing that. That was intense.
It was crazy. I'm telling you guys.
Okay.
Wild stories.
Yeah. Replenish. I was trying to think of what I want to talk about. I actually don't have a whole lot of dating. Well, I guess a little background about me is that I have been married for 10 years, so I have just recently, within the past few years, got back into the dating pool. And prior to that, I've just been with my ex-husband for 10 years, but yeah, no, it was wild. Like, life didn't prepare me for dating until I was a 30-year-old woman. So, yeah, well, I don't know who I want to talk about, but I did tell a guy, as a as a 34-year-old woman, no, I was 33-year-old at that time. I've been swindled. Is it swindled? Is that the word? I've been cajoled into the Netflix and chill for the first time.
Wait, you did? Wait, you didn't tell me this. Okay, let's go. Let me hear your stories.
Oh, do I want to share that with the internet? I guess we will, because this is what
You already
girl
brought it
chat-
up.
I know. No, that was just a general information. I did bring it up. I feel like it would be unfair. But now I want to proceed cautiously and word it safely. Yes, that is one of the experiences I have. That is my most recent one. It kind of actually did put a bad taste in my mouth. There are good men out there, but I guess we're talking about the ones that aren't it.
Hence why it's a wild dating experience.
Wild. Why? I guess it's just a concept. I don't need to give them information. It's just a concept that as a 33-year-old woman, I fell for the Netflix and chill. Because he asked me, so he invited me to watch a game thing because he's into martial arts and stuff. So he's like, hey, you wanna come over and watch a game with me? And that's kind of like the backstory. that's the whole story.
Why is it that I'm sharing such a long story and yours is so short?
I don't know. Okay, I'll think of another one real quick. I'll think of another one. Yeah.
You have quite a few.
I know I have told Tia quite a few. I'm not sure if I want to tell the internet yet. But no, I think we could just talk about dating in general and what that's like for me. And so far, it has been no bueno. It has not been fun. I have not had a good experience, but I think it's also important that right now, I'm just gonna chill. Like, I think I'm not really eager. I'm not really eager to see what else is out there. I think I've seen what I had to see. I came and I saw, and I think I'm just focused on the next thing now. But yes, I think we're just trying to bring value to our community and talk about things. Hopefully, if I could do a little bit more talking. But you know, Tia has really been carrying it for the both of us, so thank you.
Well, if I may ask, what would be some lessons or like not experiences, but like lessons that you have learned from your dating experiences?
To not date?
Well, besides that, for
Okay.
hopeful women out there
Okay.
who are dating, like, what are some things that you want to warn them about, or like just
It's important to know if you want to date or not, because sometimes this is hard to explain because I think we all were programmed to believe that we want to date, but we're doing it for the wrong reason. So that's important because you see, maybe like you have friends that are in happy relationship, you see them and you think you want that too. So I think, yeah, aside from that's honestly my advice is like, don't date, girl. Don't do it. Just focus on yourself for a while. Focus on you because I have been in a relationship for a good chunk of my life, and I guess I'm just happy to be on my own now.
okay?
Did that help?
Oh yeah.
Audience, comment below.
One of the biggest things that I have to say that everybody needs to do is getting to know themselves. Like, truly spend some time to get to know who you really are, because if you don't know what you're looking for in a partner. I swear to you, a lot of times what we think we want is not truly what we want once we experience it. So, yes, I get it. With dating, you're kind of like trying to figure it out, but you kind of still need to have some foundation there to know, like, your hard nose, for example, and your boundaries. Like, what are things that you know for a fact you're not going to compromise on? You don't know what that is if you don't know who you are. And I don't know how long it takes for, everybody to really get to know who they are, because it's different. Some people know who they are generally, like, just throughout life, and nothing's really changed. And then there are people who have gone through so much of life that they're constantly changing as a person. So people who are constantly changing, it's going to take a lot longer of a time for you to really know who you are, because you're so used to being a different person. So I'm not saying don't go out and date, but just be mindful that, like, if you don't, especially if you're a female viewer, but like even male viewers nowadays, if you don't know what you're looking for, if you don't know who you are, don't date. Just date yourself, actually, because what I keep seeing over and over again is, like, a lot of these men want the same thing. Like, it's almost like copy and paste, and it's like you wonder if they're even a different person, because they all want the same thing. And maybe that's just as simple as men get, ladies. Like, they might actually just be that simple. But I just think, like, if that's the case, if they all want same things, then, like, what's the difference between this woman versus that woman versus that woman for them, And as for us, like, we generally have, like, a longer list of things we're looking for in a partner. Fair enough, right? But just be mindful of that, because after a while you just kind of notice, like, some of these men haven't done the work. And also, like, for men listening, there are women who also haven't done the work either. And you'll see that baggage, you'll see that they're running away from certain things that was a consistent cycle in their relationships. So actually, another thing is, it's very important that you ask them, why didn't their relationships work in the past couple relationships, if they want to share. I understand there are a lot of people who also aren't on board with that, but I actually believe that when you understand the patterns, when you understand what happened before, you can either see that, hey, maybe they're not ready for a relationship, or it wasn't them. Even though, it takes two to tango, so there's always variations of, like, who was more at fault, if anybody was at fault, or that they agreed to mutually separate because they've just grown apart, or they just decided there are different things that they want in life now. But when you kind of understand the back history, because even though we don't really care about the past, right, although a lot of people do, it does shape us as a person. And that's not to say at the point that they're meeting you that they may be a different person, because if there was, like, a large length of time where they were just by themselves, then best believe they probably did change as a person, because they've chosen to work on themselves. Assumingly, they were actually focused on themselves and not dating. Now, it's also possible that just some people have been single for a long time. They've been trying, they've been looking, and just no luck. But these two things are really, really important, I think, in just dating. And that is, like I said, get to know yourself, know who you are, know what your hard no's are, know your boundaries before you even date. And then second, it's just asking those questions that really makes you wonder whether they are going to be a potential fit, or, like, they haven't done the work to kind of alleviate why a relationship would end. Because if they haven't worked through that in their previous relationship and during the time they're single, chances are it will get carried over into your relationship. And unless you're willing to, like, sit it out and work with them on it, it's just better to know that ahead of time.
Yeah. So finding yourself and just being with yourself is important. And another thing you mentioned earlier is, when you're constantly seeking for the next relationship, it always seems like it will always elude you, because whatever you chase eludes you. So, yeah. We don't chase, we attract. Hopefully you guys thought that was helpful or entertaining.
definitely juicy.
Juicy. Your story was juicier.
My
I
story.
didn't add a lot of juice into mine.
My story is just crazy.
It's brimming with juice.
But anyways, don't take my experience as, you know, something that, oh, you're dreading dating now. I wish you guys luck, and there are good men out there, you know, just make sure you know who you are before you start dating, because otherwise you're just going to be trying out so much and you might actually feel hopeless after a while. And, you know, I've also definitely felt that, which is why I've taken also like a lot of breaks before getting back on.
That's
but,
important. You
yeah.
need that.
Yeah. So I guess we're wrapping up here, and it was great seeing y'all. We will catch you guys next time. Toodles!